Let's go through how to connect with a provider and book a visit. You can easily book a visit for a single day, or if you're going to have multiple days, you can book them all at once without having to go back and schedule that visit over and over again. There are a few different ways that you can book your visit. If you're on the dashboard, you can go to the Organize Your Care header and click Book Visit. Or you can click the Visits tab and click Book Visits in the upper right-hand corner. If you've already been chatting with your care provider, you can also go to the chat, find your conversation, and click Book Visit in the bottom right-hand corner. If you go through the chat, your care provider will automatically be defaulted based on who you were chatting with. Let's start from the Dashboard tab. I'm going to click Book Visit under Organize Your Care. Now, I have a list of care providers that I've worked with in the past, but if I click on the Applicant tab, I'll see a list of all of the care providers who have applied for my listing. Simply select the care provider that you wish to work with. Since I've never worked with this care provider before, I'm going to need to create a new rate. Once you've worked with them, your previous rate will automatically display and be selected. Let's create that new rate. For this task, I'm going to set my rate at $35 an hour. Then I'll click Next. Since I've never worked with this care provider before, I'll have to create a contract. I'll be able to see who the care provider is, who's receiving care, and who the care organizer is. It'll have my hourly rate, plus the processing fee. When I'm ready, I can click Confirm. The next thing I'm going to do is say if I'm going to allow for travel costs and expenses. Let's say I'm going to add travel costs. I'm going to allow my care provider to claim a maximum of 15 kilometers per visit. I'm also going to allow expenses, so they can have up to $50 of expenses per visit. This amount will vary, and you can put in whatever you feel is appropriate, or you can leave these blank. Next, I'm going to add which tasks are required. This is optional, but highly recommended to give your care provider the most information that they can have when they review your offer. To start, click Add Tasks. Several categories will appear to choose from. There are things like personal hygiene and grooming, meal and cooking, transfer and mobility, assistance with self-medication or reminders, companionship and mentoring, transportation and shopping, housekeeping, and general maintenance. You can go through and choose any or all that apply. For this example, I'm going to click Meal and Cooking because I want assistance with all of the things in this category. I'm ready to go, so I'm going to click Confirm. At the bottom of the screen, there's a section for additional notes. If you'd like, you can add extra notes for your care provider that you think will be helpful or relevant for them. In this example, I've put Charlie lives on the second floor and has all of the groceries and cooking utensils already available. I'll click Next. Now, we're going to schedule our visit using the calendar and setting our dates and times. If I'm only looking for help on one day, I can choose that one day from the calendar and set my start and end times. So let's say I would like some support in the morning, starting at 9:30, and my estimated end time will be 11 a.m. On the right-hand side, I'll have a full payment breakdown and summary listed. It'll have my hourly rate, as well as my travel costs and expenses to provide a total. If I'm looking to schedule multiple days at the same time, I can do that with the click of a button. If they'll be returning from the same times, I can simply click Multiple Days. So now I'll have 3 visits scheduled on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, starting at 9:30 a.m. and going until 11 a.m. On the right-hand side, I can see that it's updated, so I can get my total as well as a full breakdown of each visit. Now, if I need them to come back multiple times during the day, I can easily do that by clicking Add Time. Let's say I need them there in the morning, but I also need them to come back in the afternoon. Let's say in the afternoon, I need them there at 1 p.m., and I need them to stay until 2:30. Now, I've got the return visit scheduled in, and my total has updated. If for any reason I realize I've made a mistake and I don't want this, I can just click the trash can and it will remove one of my time slots, and I can go ahead and re-add or adjust as needed. If I want additional days, but they're going to have different times, I can click Add Visit Schedule. So let's say that I also need them to come back on the 17th and 18th, but I need them to come back at completely different times. On this schedule, I can see these are the days I've previously selected. So I'm going to click the 17th and 18th. And on these days, I need them here by 5 p.m., and they'll have to stay until 7 p.m. Now, my total is updated, and I have 2 different time slots on 2 different series of days. This looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and click Book. Now my visits have been successfully booked, and all that's left to do is for my care provider to review the offer I've sent them and the details. They'll confirm, and I'll see the notification come through in my chat. If I need to make any changes, I can go View Visits, change my date range to when I have care scheduled, and now I can see all of my visits listed right here. I can find the visit that I wish to modify and click Edit, or if I want to reschedule it, I can click Reschedule. If I no longer need this visit, I can click the Cancel button. In the event that you try and create a booking with a worker who's already booked with a different client, you'll receive an error notification. All you need to do is adjust your time slot. Once you've submitted your visit, payment will be processed. It'll be marked as pending on your Transactions tab. If you click onto your Transactions tab, you can see that this morning, when I made my booking, there was a deposit made in this amount. Up at the top, I can see my balance, my pending balance, and what I have available. Once your visit has actually occurred and your care provider has submitted the work invoice, payment will be fully processed. If there are any discrepancies or changes, for instance, if they ended up having more mileage claimed than what you had allowed for, or the expenses were a little bit higher, or if the hours had changed, you will have to manually review those and approve them. This ensures that everyone is aware of the total cost and there are no nasty surprises along the way. In the event that you do need to review and approve something, you can go to the Visits tab, search for your date range when the work happened, and look for anything that requires a manual approval. If there's no differences between what you had initially set up in your visit and what has been submitted by your care provider, visits will automatically be approved so that you don't have to go in and approve something that you've already requested. One other thing to note is that when you're booking your care provider initially, you'll only be able to see care providers that you've worked with previously, that you've invited to the platform, or care providers who have already been vetted and have applied for your listing. If for any reason, when you go to complete your booking, you receive an insufficient funds or a payment failure notice, go to your profile, click on Payments, and make sure that your credit card or debit card details are up to date. If you're paying by another method, contact Care Possible support team.